Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to Poets and Quants' online MBA panel. Today, we're talking about the student experience at Carnegie Mellon's Tepper School of Business. I'm your host, Christy Blyzeffer with Poets and Quants. So please feel free to use the Q&A function to submit any questions you have for our panelists, and I'll do my best to get to those at the end of the session. I want to welcome each of you today. Thank you for taking the time. And we're going to dive right in with you, Meg. If you want to start just by introducing yourself, the program, the school mission, values, reputation, that kind of thing.
Yeah, first I just have to say thank you for having us. We're really excited to be here. My name is Meg Lucas. I'm the director of the part-time and online MBA programs at the Tepper School of Business at Carnegie Mellon University. A little bit about our school. The Tepper School has been around for quite some time, since 1949. We've been known for taking an analytical approach to business education since that time. We were really the founders of management science. The Tepper School is consistently ranked in the top 20 of delivering graduate business education, top 5 in online MBA. And a lot about our mission and values really stem from that we want to create future business leaders that can drive business decisions based on data, and to balance that with an important leadership approach. So it's a combination of analytics meets leadership with a rigorous curriculum. So that's a kind of the hard and fast overview of the Tepper MBA program.
Yeah, very good. Do you want to just kind of talk to us a little bit about the concentrations that might be available? You know, what guidance and support do students receive in choosing, which direction they want to go?
Yeah, so the program starts out with obviously our core business foundations, and so those are required of every student entering into the MBA program, and that's a combination of business foundation courses, analytics focus courses like optimization and statistical decision making, and then our leadership and communication courses. So students will have kind of their first year of core classes focused on those areas, making sure that we have those strong foundations built. And then in their second portion of their program, that's where they can really focus in some of the concentrations that you're talking about. And our students can do that in operations, entrepreneurship, strategy, marketing, organizational behavior, and in business technologies. So there's a lot of different ways that you can focus your curriculum in the elective series.
Yeah, very good. And we also have with us today, Jemiah. If you want to take a minute to introduce yourself and kind of talk about the reasons you wanted to pursue an MBA.
Yeah, sure. So, Christy, thank you for having me. My name is Jemiah Guillory, and I'm currently the area general manager with Carrier. So in my role as area general manager, I have full P&L ownership. I cover 3 states, so Pennsylvania, Ohio, in Michigan. Really large team. It's a $60-70 million business. And one thing that I would note is that I wouldn't have been afforded this opportunity had it not been for my pursuit. And then ultimately, the achievement of the MBA that I earned from Carnegie Mellon. And so the question that you posed is, why did I want an MBA? And I would say there were 3 particular things that drew me to earning an MBA, which is 1, growth and self-development. 2 is just my overall desire to achieve and continue to grow, because education has been pivotal in my overall development. And then 3, ultimately, differentiation. When you think about the candidates that are out there in the market nowadays, if you're pursuing certain roles with certain Fortune 500 organizations, roles that have such, stature, then they're likely to have some requirements such as a bachelor's degree. And then a lot of them have this indication of an MBA preferred. But what does that MBA preferred actually mean? Well, it means that the hiring manager is looking for someone who has developed and who has learned a lot from some of the things that Meg talked about, which is the foundational elements of business. And so, as I think about the overall pursuit of the MBA, those were the reasons why I pursued it. I wanted to differentiate myself. I wanted to continue to elevate within whatever organization that I was in. And I just always aspired to grow from an educational perspective.
Oh, that's great. Do you want to kind of tell us why you chose Tepper?
Yeah, so I chose Tepper for a number of reasons. One, I liked the idea that the program was really aligned with the part-time program, I should say, was aligned with the program that the full-time students take. So it's essentially the same program, just offered in a part-time fashion. Now, that does come with a lot more rigor as you're working. And, if you're like me, you have a family, a wife, and children. And so you're balancing schedules and you're trying to ultimately make it all work. But, I pursued my education at Tepper for that reason. I liked the program. I liked what the program offered. Me being a Pittsburgh native, I've always aspired to go to Carnegie Mellon. And I can remember back to when I was in high school getting tutored in physics here in Pittsburgh at Carnegie Mellon. And then now to have successfully completed my MBA from the program is just a dream come true for me.
Yeah. Well, what has been the learning experience like? What's the course load? Is there emphasis on group work versus individual? What is the student culture and extracurricular like that you can join as an online participant?
Yeah, so what I would say is that each individual cohort develops its own culture, so to speak, right? And you get integrated within that cohort, and from there you develop friendships, relationships that you'll have for the rest of your life. But the coursework for my program, it was broken. A semester was broken into mini semesters, and so each mini semester comprised of 2 courses. Now, there were instances where individuals like myself who wanted to finish a little sooner may have accelerated that schedule and took on some additional courses during each mini. But you essentially have 2 courses each mini, and in a semester you have 2 minis. I will note that this program does go year round in a part-time fashion. And so, it's important for you to really take the time to understand the program that you're signing up for, because it's going to be a grind, but the grind can be very fruitful.
Yeah, absolutely. Meg, do you want to tell us what are some of the differentiators to the CMU Tepper online MBA?
Yeah, excuse me. Absolutely. So I think there are several key differentiators to our program. I know I've touched on kind of this analytics and leadership approach that our school focuses on, and that is really important and a key differentiator for our school. The skills that students gain from those analytical depth courses are really supporting their ability to move in their organization, create better efficiencies, drive decisions based around data. And that's a primary goal of the curriculum. But on top of that, the leadership training that's built into the program, we have leadership coaches, we have required workshops. It helps build those future leaders and create strong emotional intelligence, and to support their goals of ultimately being able to move up in their organizations and use the data-driven courses that they've taken to influence others within their organization. So that's definitely a key differentiator. But a couple other standout things would be our in-person access weekends. Coming together when you're in an online program is such an important piece to be able to, build on your professional development skills, to network with your community, to meet your faculty, to engage in in-person career coaching, all of those things. And so the in-person experiences are one of the highlights of our program. And then lastly, I'll say the same faculty approach, the same, as Jemiah mentioned, we are the full-time program in a part-time format. Our core faculty that teach in the full-time program are the same faculty that teach in the part-time program. And you can see that not all online programs use that approach. And so it's not a watered down curriculum. It's really an important piece of our program.
Jemiah, would you agree that those in-person experiences, kind of enhanced your experience?
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Because as you're going through the curriculum and you're interacting with your classmates via Zoom, it's always funny to just see people in person. You're like, oh, you're taller than I thought. Oh, you're shorter than I thought. But you have that opportunity to develop the relationships with the people that you've interacted with continuously throughout the program. And so, one of the questions that you asked earlier about the course load, group work, we have tons of group work. And I think that's developed in such a manner to help facilitate the group work that you're going to experience in corporate America. As a leader of an organization, a small business unit within a larger organization, all I do is group work. Every day is group work, meeting, and that's all group work. And so you learn how to better articulate yourself when you're working with your peers. Everyone's strong suit isn't the same as mine. And so you learn to leverage their skill sets and their abilities.
Yeah, what an important skill for sure. Well, I think a topic a lot of people, prospective online students, are very interested in is the work-life balance. So how did you manage it, and what advice do you have?
Yeah, no, that's most important for online students or part-time students who have a component of their course load that's being offered in person, and online is the work-life balance. And so what I would say, a few things that you can do to help foster the development of that overall experience is, one, get acclimated quickly, right? Mm-hmm. Get acclimated quickly, immerse yourself. As soon as you know that you've been accepted into a program, start to think like a student again, because you may get accepted in January or, a certain period throughout the year, and you might have some time prior to beginning that program, but you ultimately need to turn that switch on, because it initiates, that grit and that overall persona of just constantly overachieving and putting yourself through that process. So that's one thing I would say, just get initiated quickly. Find accountability partners. As you're interacting with your cohort, find people who you can reach out to and you can complain to, because we all are going through this together and we all aspire to earn a degree together. And so having that person that you can just vent to and they understand where you're coming from can go a long way. For instance, I have an undergraduate peer of mine who's now in Carnegie Mellon. And so I'm done and he's starting, and he's reaching out to me and he's like, so Jemiah, tell me about this teacher, or tell me about this experience. And I'm like, dude, you're going to be fine. Pre-quiz, post-quiz, you got this. And so he just finished his first semester. But, accountability partners, immersing yourself quickly, and then just ultimately really continue to care, because it gets exhausting at some point. And so find ways to stimulate yourself throughout this process. Be happy with aspiring to get A's. Be happy with wanting to do above and beyond your peers, because those are the things that drove me to finishing early and to my success with earning the degree.
Yeah, that is all great advice. Kind of some points I haven't really heard before, and that's great insight. Well, what would you say, Jemiah, closing out with you, what are, some of the hallmarks of the experience for you, the things that you'll remember the most or had the greatest impact?
Yeah. So, this is what I would say. One of the biggest hallmarks is the job that I'm in now. As an associate director, I have tons of people reporting to me. It's an awesome experience to continue to grow and develop within this particular organization. And as I mentioned earlier, I would not have been afforded this opportunity without the pursuit of the MBA. So I got the job before finishing the degree. And so I implore students to focus on ways, if you're in a part-time online fashion, focus on ways of leveraging the MBA throughout the pursuit of it, and so that's a big hallmark for me, because I was able to get promoted while getting accepted. I was able to get promoted while pursuing, and then I was able to find a new role with greater income more responsibility, that continues to put my career on the trajectory that I desire and that most MBA students likely want to see. So, leveraging the MBA early on is important. Another hallmark for me is just the experience that I got with entrepreneurship through acquisition. It's probably one of my favorite. Just the idea of learning about mergers, acquisitions, buying businesses, different paths to entrepreneurship, that will never leave me, and at some point that may be where my career ends up. So that's really important. And then ultimately my cohort, my peers, just the relationships that I've built over the time, the people that I now interact with, the new friends that I've made. And listen, I'm not going to sit here and say you're going to make 1,000 new friends. If I did, I'd be lying. But I can guarantee you'll come out of the MBA program with a nice group of new friends who see the world in the way that you do and who pursue, growth and development, careers, education, the same way that you do. And so those are three things that I've taken away from this experience.
Yeah, very good. Meg, going back to Jemiah's point about leveraging the MBA early, talking to our audience of, exploratory students, what can you say about the career outcomes potential for the Tepper program?
Yeah, I will say, and of course I don't have my stats right in front of me, but I will say that often our students are not only getting one promotion, but multiple through the duration of their program. And there is a line at which you can either, there's individuals who are looking to continue to grow and they see that. And then there are individuals who are actually looking for a career switch and they can do that. It's a pretty incredible online program in that we are designed to meet the students where they're at. And we use the Tepper resources that are for the full-time MBA the same way in our part-time MBA. So you can do an internship if you decide you want to pursue that route. You work with a career coach, experts who are, in their industry, and you participate in mock interviews and, group consulting. And so it's all designed to support the ultimate growth and skills and outcomes that our students are looking for as part of a graduate MBA program.
Yeah. I think that a lot of prospective online students too, think a lot about, will they get the same networking opportunities as, maybe a more traditional in-person program? What would either of you say about what the networking opportunities that are like in the Tepper online MBA?
Yeah, I'll kick it off, Jemiah, and then you can close it out with your specific experience. But we, through these access weekends, create space for that. So Friday typically is all day professional development. It's exposure to different faculty. It's exposure to your cohort. It's fun built into the weekend. We take our students out to dinner. It's that network. You get the social aspect, then you also get that professional development aspect. And so, there are a lot of ways to get that experience through our program.
Yeah. And to add some additional context to what Meg says so eloquently, you ultimately immerse yourself in an environment where they've developed the resources and they put them in place for you. Whether it's a part-time or full-time fashion, they have the resources there for you. And so upon accepting, admittance into the program, like I mentioned earlier, switch your mindset. You're now a student and you now have to re-engage those muscles that maybe you have, I won't say relinquished, but maybe you just have let go to the wayside for a period of time. And you need to really grab it by the horns and say, I want to take advantage of this forum. I want to take advantage of this medium and utilize everything that's available for me. And so ultimately, I would put that back onto any of the prospective students that any program, whether it's CMU, or CMU, you're going to get what you put into it. And so that means come, engage, and continue to desire everything that you did prior to getting in, and just be resilient, because as I mentioned, it can be challenging, it can be daunting at times, and it can be exhausting. But as you continue to have that grit and continue to immerse yourself in those networking opportunities, you will see the results that you desire.
That's great. Well, thank you for this great discussion. Meg, let's give you a chance to kind of talk directly to the students and explain what's the best way to find out more, get in touch with you, any kind of application dates that they need to be aware of.
Yeah, actually, I don't have the application dates up in front of me, but I can pull them up. So in terms of getting in touch with us, everything can be found at tepper.cmu.edu. We have an admissions team that is all listed on the website with their contact information so that you can touch base with them to learn more about the program, the process for applying. And yeah, it's all there for you. And then of course, you can find me online or on LinkedIn, Meg Lucas, and I'm happy to be a support to any prospective student. I have been with this program for 6 years, so I know the ins and outs. And I think another great way to just get a better understanding of what the day in the life of this experience is to reach out to one of our part-time online ambassadors. So we have student ambassadors. Jemiah was one till he graduated this December. So
I still support. Call me if you need. I'm here.
So yeah, so we've got students who want to help other future students come into this program and learn about it. So I'd say that's a great place to start and just get some more information. Well, Jemiah, if you have anything to add to that, I'll pull up our admissions dates here.
Yeah, so, just to speak to the ambassadorship, I mean, I think that's a great way for prospective students to interact with people like myself who really have enjoyed our experience and want to make sure that that next group of individuals knows what they're walking into and can get, transparent and honest feedback. I take calls all the time from people in various countries regarding their pursuit of the program. And what I've noticed is that when they get to speak to a student or someone who recently graduated, it invigorates them, right? They become more excited about the opportunity. Their questions become answered, clarity is provided. And many of them now want to continue to pursue that education.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
right.
so
go ahead, Meg.
I was just going to add that the next deadline for applications is March 12th. And then another deadline will happen by May 1st. So there's plenty of time to get your part-time application in. And even after that, sometimes we'll open for rolling admission. So keep your eye out and make sure you contact admissions, get more information from our website. And there are plenty of resources for any prospective student wanting to learn more about the program and make the right decision for them.
Yeah, well, thank you both very much for just a lively and enthusiastic conversation with some great insights into, what the student experience at Tepper will be. I also want to thank our viewers for your time and attention. And, if you have any follow-up questions, reach out to Tepper directly. They're always there to help. You'll also find a lot more school dives videos like this on our YouTube page or at poetsandquants.com. And again, I'm your host, Christy Bleizeffer, and thank you all for joining us. And until next time, bye.